What is up, beautiful people? Kirby Hasseman here, trying to deliver you just a little bit more marketing joy. And I want to do that today by talking about ways to level up, ways to increase your expectations, increase your goals, and hopefully increase your results. And if you're getting any value out of these, please feel free to subscribe wherever you're getting this. And hey, if somebody shared it with you, please feel free to pay it forward and share this so other people will get some value out of it too. So like I said, today's topic is really about leveling up, and I'll be quoting some people who inspire me today, and one of them is Ed Milet. Ed Milet talks about the concept of the thermostat, and it's one of those things where you hear about different concepts at different times in your life, and this was one that it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I thought it was so insightful. So his concept around the thermostat is that each of us have a thermostat, guarding our life. We have a specific expectation of our life, and it's based on the degrees, right? So, and I'm going to do my best to give, credit to Ed for this, because essentially he says, a lot of us might be a 75-degree person. These are the expectations. We have 75-degree expectations in our life. And if something bad happens and all of a sudden, something bad happens and our life drops down to 30 degrees, the heater kicks on. The heater kicks on because our expectations, we believe we are worth 75 degrees. So we will scramble and hustle and get ourselves back up to that 75 degrees. But the converse is true too. If we believe we have a 70-degree value and all of a sudden we have a windfall and all of a sudden we get 95-degree results, subconsciously, we will start to take our foot off the gas. We will start to sabotage ourselves until we get back to that 75 degrees. And I have found this to be true in my life. When things start rocking and rolling, all of a sudden I'm like, well, hey, maybe I don't have to work as hard. And I think that is governed by what we believe our own value is. So one of the ways to sort of increase the things that are going on in our life is to increase our expectations, to increase that thermostat. And so one of the ways to do that, according to Ed Milet, is to go through a period of time where you increase your level of output by a crazy amount, right? So if you are normally one of those people who makes 3 or 4 sales calls a day, go through a week where you make 50 or 100 sales calls a day. And what will happen is your expectations of the results will follow, right? Because you've done the work that most people won't do. You will expect more because you've earned more. So one of the ways to elevate the expectations, to increase that thermostat temperature in your life, is to increase your output in a specific area by a big degree. So again, for fitness, if you never work out and all of a sudden you start working out 7 days a week, you're going to expect a level, you expect that thermostat to rise because you've put in the work. You've put in work that other people won't do. So that's a really big way to increase that thermostat. And boy, I just love that concept. The other way to increase that thermostat in your life is to start hanging around people that elevate you, that have higher expectations. If you are a 75-degree person and you start hanging out with 95-degree people, it will force you to change because it will make you uncomfortable. Those folks will be talking about things that you're not used to talking about. They'll be taking efforts and looking at things differently than you look at them, and it will help to force you to level up. Now, one of the things when I first heard this concept, I was like, I love that idea. But for many of us, the people that we have in our life, our loved ones, whatever, they may not have that 95 or 110 degree aspiration, but we still want to keep them in our lives. But I think it's about sort of being intentional and seeking out folks, whether they be nearby you in proximity, but seeking out those people who challenge you and make you think about things differently. And you can do that obviously in the 3-dimensional world. But the one thing I was thinking about is I do that intentionally via content. We live in this amazing time where some of the brightest and smartest financial minds, the brightest and smartest fitness minds, all, whatever it is where you want to level up, they are sharing their content for free on the internet, whether it via podcasts or videos or books or whatever. You have the opportunity to be intentional about surrounding yourselves with people that help you level up, that help educate you, that inspire you. And so I have done that personally. And I wanted to give you just a couple of those people, the 5 people. One of the things they say is that the 5 people you surround yourself, really, you become the average of those 5 people. So I wanted to give you 5 people that inspire me, that kind of force me to level up. And when I'm not feeling it, these are people who, pump me up, get me going, get me back on track. And so I wanted to share those with you today. So first, I mentioned him already, Ed Mylett. Ed Mylett, I think, is just a prolific content creator. He has an amazing podcast, which you could get obviously on the podcast. You can get it on YouTube. It's Max Out, and he interviews people in all kinds of different walks of life. He's a big guy, works out, so he's a big fitness guy. He certainly knows his nutrition, but he's also been incredibly successful financially. And so he interviews all these people. And then also he will do podcasts where it's just him. Just like what I'm doing right now, he gives you, takes on a topic and gives you sort of insight into that and how he looks at those things. And I find that those are incredibly valuable to me. And he's got a book called The Power of One More, which I have purchased. I purchased multiple copies of it because I wanted to give it to people. So he is one that really helps me to level up. His name's Ed Mylett. You can find him everywhere. Next up, Cody Sanchez. Cody Sanchez, an amazing entrepreneurial mind. I think she was in the private equity world. She has come up, and now her big thing is to look at buying boring businesses. Now, Cody might not be for you unless you're in the entrepreneurial space, but if you're in the entrepreneurial space, what I love about her is her energy, and she looks at things differently. Actually, her email, I think, is the title of her newsletter is Contrarian Thinking. I love people who make me think differently. And so she is one of those people. So I would definitely check out Cody Sanchez if you are entrepreneurial in any way. Next up, Alex Hormozi. Alex Hormozi is one of my favorite content creators today. Again, another fitness guy. He is someone who, if you want to be inspired and level up your thermostat from a fitness perspective, he is jacked. He's got a couple books that I really liked. One is $100 Million Offers. And then I actually just have his most recent one sitting right here, $100 Million Leads. So he started his business and I've followed his journey. So he, essentially created a business where he helped gym owners level up, and he had an incredibly successful exit from that business with his wife. And now they've started a company called acquisition.com. He's got a great podcast called The Game, where he kind of gives insights into business. Love Alex Hormozi. I'm a big fan of him. Next up, a little bit of a different guy, John Acuff, different than Alex Hormozi, but John is a writer, a speaker, one of my favorite speakers I've ever seen in person. Also, I met him at a Chicago airport, and he was so unbelievably kind. You know how you meet somebody and they want to be polite to you, but you can tell they're trying to get to the next thing. John was not like that at all. He sat and talked with me for like 15 minutes just at the airport as we were waiting on flights. But that's not the reason I like him. I like him because he is insightful. He's really funny, self-deprecating. He's one of those people who when you listen to or read his stuff, you're like, okay, he understands me. And so he has a podcast, All It Takes Is a Goal. His books are awesome. He's got a book called Start, a book called Finish, a book called Soundtracks. Soundtracks probably my favorite one. And then he's got a new book out called All It Takes Is a Goal. So if you have never followed John Acuff, big fan of John. So definitely check him out. And then finally, sort of the OG for me is Gary Vaynerchuk. Now, Gary, I go back and forth where he produces so much content, and some of it feels like it's for me, and for a while he'll go off and I don't feel like it's really I'm the target audience. Right now, I'm living through a space where I feel like he's speaking directly to me. He has podcasts and YouTube videos, and he does all kinds of keynotes, and he's got books as well. My favorite from him is probably the Thank You Economy. He's coming out with a new one called, I think it's called Underpriced Attention. And so, day trading attention, I think it's what it's going to be called. So Gary is an OG, and I love what he has to say, especially surrounding content and building businesses. So you can kind of see, I mean, the people I listen to are very entrepreneurial, big into the personal development space, and they help me to level up. And these are just five. But one of the things, I guess, the takeaway from this video or this audio, if you're listening to it, is really be intentional about those voices that are in your head. If you like, true crime dramas and all that stuff, that's fine. That's great. And those are entertaining, but seek out people who inspire you to be a better version of yourself. Seek out people who make you want to increase that thermostat of your life and make you look at bigger goals and bigger dreams. And I think that at the end of the day, not only will you achieve more, and that's certainly my hope for myself, but hopefully you'll be more fulfilled and more happy. And that is what, from my perspective, it's all about. So I hope this has provided you some value today. And if so, please feel free to subscribe. I would really appreciate that. And please feel free to share. If there's somebody in your life who you feel like could listen to this, or that is entrepreneurial by nature and they might get some value out of the people that I have recommended, please feel free to share this with them. So thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'll keep them coming. We'll see you next time.